So many of you may have known, and we have a lot of new subs. Thank you for subscribing. I'd hope to have you for a long time. Many of you may have known that we've been keeping up with Florida's rampant book banning boondoggle that they've embroiled themselves in for the last couple of years after DeSantis won re-election. With this being said, a little re-up on what's going on. In Florida, Republicans decided to take their culture war into the legislature and start legislating like they were Twitter warriors. Sounds terrible. I know it's worse. If you live in Florida, you'd understand. But a lot of people don't understand how bad it's gotten. Under the guise of banning explicit material, like 18 plus explicit material, against that was being force-fed to children by LGBT trans activists trying to transgender our children by walking into class with caca-chopping katanas and transgendering them right there under the parents' noses. Republicans passed a bill that basically made it so that any parent, any person really, could walk into school and say, I want this book and that book and that book banned, and so nobody can read it, period. And the school had to abide by those wishes and do a review process to get them banned and see whether or not they should be taken off by a arbitrary criteria of whether or not the books are age appropriate for children in the most conservative definition of what that can be. It's true. I was the katana. It's very true. Yeah, 100%. It's very scary. I'm going to be honest with you. Very, very scary indeed. But with that being said, that led to a massive maelstrom of problems for a lot of Florida school districts. So basically what happened is that they passed a law that said that if a teacher was found providing a book that was found to be inappropriate or bad or wrong or evil or woke or whatever, that the teacher and the school district could be held criminally liable for providing evil wokeness to children in the school when they should be learning about their ABCs, not LGBs, T's or whatever, right? So this meant that a lot of school districts simply just decided to pull a lot of books off of the shelves if they possibly had the ability to be contested against, but that still didn't save them from a massive amount of basically evildoers coming in to try to remove so many books off of shelves for children. This led to entire libraries being removed. This led to the Bible in places being removed. One that conservatives absolutely hated, and even Fox News came out again saying that it was so evil and wrong. That was about a year ago now. There's a massive brewing problem with the war on books and knowledge for against children in Florida, that it started to become so bad that in many counties in Florida, but in this one county specifically, 1,600 books were banned from being shown in all of the county schools, from the Webster's Dictionary and Thesaurus to the 2000 Guinness World Record book to a science encyclopedia. Here are all the books that they just banned, just as a quick scroll through. I didn't finish this yet. Yep, there we go. Massive amount of books. Fable, that was a book that was banned. Some of you all read Fable. Warriors, that shitty cat book. Furyborn, that was another one. There are a lot of books in here that are absolutely just gone, and there's nothing anybody can do about it because people made objections and they said that these books have to be removed because they were just too woke or something to be on shelves. Things have gotten bad, really bad. But DeSantis decided to not care that much about it until recently, where he finally admitted that his war on books has been a complete disaster for Florida, the education system, and teachers in general, as they have now one of the absolute worst teacher shortages in the entire country. And one little piece of this microcosm was from this teacher in North Fort Myers who resigned after a complaint, after he spent years in his class building up a library of over 600 books for his children to read, bought with his own money over time to give to his students, because Florida is obviously one of the shittiest, worst, and least funded school districts in the entire school administrations in the entire country, teachers have to do stuff like this, like spend their own spend their own meager income that they get from the state to be able to give their children an education in the classroom. And what happened to this guy is that he just came into school one day, and the administration locked up all of his books. They literally put his books in jail over fear that a parent at some point in time was going to see that their kid was reading an ungovernment approved book, and then that would lead to a lawsuit that would lead to criminal personal charges against the administration and the teacher themselves. And so the day after that, he quit. Let's take a read of this really quick. Wait, how do I pronounce this guy's name again?
Andocious.
Mike Andocious' 8 years as a social studies teacher in North Fort Myers High School. He had grown a classroom library of more than 600 books. When he came into school on January 16th, they were gone. The next day, he was as well. Atscosa resigned after the school boxed up his library, placed the books in administrative lockup, actual prison, and told him to take them all home. Atscosa said in an interview, Principal Debbie Diggs, that this shit can't be a real name. This is the like babysitter in like Rugrats or something. Debbie Diggs, come on, man. Let's be serious here for a second. Let's actually name your kids a real human name, not Debbie Diggs. What is happening right now? Asked me why I didn't keep the books covered, and I said it's absurd and it's fascism, and I think I'm not going to participate in that, he said. Atscosa's resign is the latest flare-up over HB 1069, a state law signed by DeSantis last year that requires school districts to restrict books that were deemed age inappropriate or describe sexual content. Proponents of the bill said the law was intended to protect parental rights, not broadly ban books, but in practice, districts across the state have preemptively removed thousands of books to avoid potential criminal liability. And that's one of the big things, is it's not just like you would remove the books. They specifically say that if a book describes sexual content, and whatever that really means, that the administration and the faculty would be held criminally liable. They face like massive fines, losing their job, possibly jail time for providing reading material to children in school. And once again, conservatives say that this is a way to protect children from porn, but in all actuality, very little porn was banned, but a whole lot of real reading material was taken away from children all across the state. Up to 1,600 books just completely removed for many reasons. Fox News made a segment about how one school district had to ban the Bible from being able to be prescribed for being able to be made available to children, because obviously the Bible touches on aspects of sex and sexuality, and they said that falls under this law, and so the Bible itself needs to be banned. Mouse, that book about Holocaust survivors, needed to be banned as well. Anne Frank's diary also needed to be banned because that explained, for many reasons. Also, they passed another law as well about how you can't give children material that discusses gender or the gender ideology, whatever that really means, or things that make people would feel bad about their race or ethnicity or whatever. So somebody argued that the book Mouse will make children of German descent feel bad, so that's why they banned Mouse from being shown, because it talked about Nazi Germany from a Holocaust survivor. Crazy stuff going on. And it basically all culminated not too long ago with one of the wildest headlines that I've seen in quite some time, and that was that a school district actually had to provide permission slips for children to read books by Black authors. If the author was Black, they had to ask the children's parents to sign a permission slip for if they could look at it. This is also a part of Florida's massive push to ban African American histories, and also Ron DeSantis' plan to talk about the benefits that blacks accrued from slavery, like learning how to be a blacksmith and learning how to cook and pick cotton very efficiently. Things have basically spiraled out of control in Florida, so bad that a conservative that a conservative had to come on to Twitter to air his grievances about him finding out that his book Killing Jesus and Killing Reagan, boy loves killing, actually got banned from school libraries in Florida because of the same exact law that they passed to be able to stick it to the wokes. Things have started to get really bad for Republicans down there. Yeah, Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly's books. Florida County removes books Killing Jesus and Killing Reagan from school libraries. Preposterous. We are investigating and seeking comment from Ron DeSantis. This will not stand. Updates at BillO'Reilly.com. Crazy stuff. Listen, first they came for the blacks. I didn't speak because I hate blacks. Then they came for the homosex. I did not speak because I really hate homosexuals. And then they came for the old white conservatives, and I fell to my knees. For all merit and humanity in this country have left us. What more do we have? If even the old white men aren't safe from a law, who is, dude? Who is? The answer is nobody. The answer is nobody. And it's gotten bad. Real bad. So bad, in fact, that DeSantis actually had to come out to talk about how he wants it fixed because it's become such a massive political liability that even Pant Piss doesn't want to hold this L. So he had a little talk. Florida. Education, not indoctrination. And they even left the cursor on the screen too. Bro has no clue what he's doing. I want to skip a little forward here because they did a lot of yapping about nothing.
That's false. That is not true. And if people are abusing this process to try to muddy those waters, then we need to have some reforms. We should absolutely, if somebody is illegitimately, as an educator, they're illegitimately withholding classic works because they claim that somehow it's a violation, that's false. That is not true, but you are doing a disservice to those kids, and you should absolutely be held accountable for playing these games.
So he wants to offload blame onto teachers for trying not to lose their jobs and get sued because he made such an ridiculous, broad, stupid, disgusting, bonehead. Many words people can call this law. That anybody could have told them that this stupid law would have ended up with this law could have ended up like this. Everybody knows that this would have happened. He didn't see it coming because he was blinded by the war against wokeness to save our children or something. That he's only now coming to grips with the idea of his policy positions being stupid. Stupid teachers, you make me look bad. So true.
Likewise, members of the community, although we like people wanting to be involved in what's going on, to just show up and object to every single book under the sun, that is not an appropriate situation here. And we've seen that occasionally. You should not be reviewing dictionaries and encyclopedias and just basic things that have been a part of education for a long time. So I think that this is going to get it to where it needs to be. We obviously have to give parents the ability to be able to ensure that this smut doesn't get into their schools.
Smut. Smut. Basic things. We need so many basic things, man. Basic things. You don't get it. The thing is, it wasn't wrong for them to take those books away to protect themselves, obviously, and it wasn't wrong to ban things under the purview of this law, like the Bible. The Bible does talk about sex. I hate to tell you this, it does indeed talk about sex. The word sex does come up in the dictionary, and so by very definition of this law, those should be banned. He just didn't think about that because he's stupid, and the Republicans in Florida are stupid. And so they wanted to make an anti-woke law instead of actually making a good law instead.
I don't know why we even got to this point where people would want to inject this into the schools. Unfortunately, it's happening, and I think a lot just in the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a real great awakening across this country about some of the things that are going on in public schools. In Florida, we've been very proactive to empower parents.
Yeah, there has been a really big awakening about all that. That's why Republicans have been losing a lot of their seats on boards of education and school district boards after people figured out that they actually didn't care about porn in school, and they really cared about stopping people from learning about black people, minorities, gay people, and the sort. They want to interject their idea of patriotic education or something. They realize that their politicians want to teach their kids about the benefits of slavery.
It's not so much in some other states, and a lot of this is now becoming the norm. So that's, I think, bad that they're doing that. We're doing the right thing, but let's not let people try to hijack the process. We don't have any time for your political agenda. If you're saying that no books should be available, that's on you. You are acting inappropriately. You are not acting in a professional manner. And there should be consequences if you're going to do that. So I look forward to what the Department of Education is able to put out to make sure that we have adequate accountability. And I also look forward to working with the legislature so we can streamline this. Let's focus where the energy needs to be, and let's not waste our time playing political games over works that everybody knows are an important part of kids' education. Okay, with that, happy to take some questions. Yes, sir.
I don't want politics in my politics. I can't believe our political bill that we passed has caused a lot of political issues. It seems like the shitty stuff that we've done has caused a lot of people to have a tough time. Crazy.
So, for example, with objecting, like if you go to a school board meeting objecting, if you have a kid in school, okay, but if you're somebody who doesn't have a kid in school and you're going to object to 100 books, no, I don't think that that's appropriate. So I think the legislature is interested in limiting what the number of challenges you can do, and maybe making it be contingent on whether you actually have kids in school or not. On the one hand, I think that does make sense. On the other hand, people that don't have kids in school pay taxes to support the school system, so the citizens do have an interest in this. So I'm not sure you can say they...
Yeah, so that was the thing that was actually happening, is that people would come up. You know how Republicans have been busing people around like across the country to be able to stop wokeness or whatever? People like Matt Walsh bought an apartment in Loudoun County specifically to tell the Board of Education that they're cringe and gay because they like gay people, and they didn't think they should all be hung like he does because he's cool. A lot of people in Florida were doing stuff like that. People who a lot of like people who protested the law were doing things like that, like taking up issues with things like the Bible and other books that conservatives really love that they didn't think that were going to be targeted, and making it so that this has become such a big issue to stop conservatives from trying to make all these claims against books made by gay people, made by black people, minorities, women, to stop them from being able to reach out to young children to talk to them about issues that do matter to them, because they are usually of those demographics as well. There are a lot of black people and women and Hispanic people and all these types of people from in Florida that just aren't having their voice heard by having their books banned in Florida schools because of Republican hatred towards those types of people. And it really sucks, but if you're gonna be doing eye for an eye, I mean, might as well, so we can all be blind. And now they're getting mad. That's what really brought all this up.
They can't do it at all, but I think you can just limit it. And then what you can also do is, if you object to like a To Kill a Mockingbird or Hank Aaron, that obviously is a frivolous objection. Those books should be in school. Then maybe after one or two frivolous objections, you have to pay a fine because you're putting people to go through all this. So we're toying with a lot of things in terms of that process. But then also the legislature is looking at, or Manny's looking at, if you have somebody within the school system that's doing something for political purposes. For example, there was a teacher, I think in Manatee County, that papered over every book in the class. Oh, I can't show, but that's a lie. That is not true. That is performative nonsense.
Hey, remember how we just saw the guy who had his entire school, his entire class library taken out of his class because all the books had to be pre-checked that they weren't a gay porn or something? And so he had to leave the school because they literally took all his books and put them in jail. It's almost like that's exactly what's happening, and that's why they papered over all of those books. Yes. He doesn't even understand what his law does. This is how dumb these people are. They don't even get the implications of the laws that they pass. Because they're not legislating. They're trying to be Twitter warriors who have the power to kill you. That's all they are at the end of the day. They're like Redditors who have the power to make laws that kill you. That's it. And if that sounds dangerous to you, that's why I talk so low of these types of people. It's all vibes. Yeah, they don't think it's all vibes.
If you want to do that on your own time, fine, but don't bring that to the classroom and subject our kids to that nonsense. So I think that there can be professional responsibility that's imposed in those situations. And, look, those books, I think, clearly are problematic. I'm not saying there could be some that a parent raises objections to, which reasonable people could disagree with. And here's the
oh wait, and now he's like, maybe To Kill a Mockingbird is something that you can he actually doesn't know what he's saying. He hasn't put any thought into this. He just hates woke people, and woke people write books, so he wants to do as much as he can to stop woke people from being able to speak to children, because wokeness is bad and evil. Guys actually lost it, dude. And it's not only a loss of him and his IQ points, it's a loss for Florida and their educators, because Florida is now going through one of the absolute worst teacher shortages in the entire country because of their weirdo draconian anti-woke stupid laws that they've been putting on the books without any thought or rhyme and reason for why they should actually be there. Listen to this. Legislators in Florida are considering a bill that would help retired teachers return to the workforce. And this is after a bill that DeSantis put into place that let veterans be substitute teachers, not because they actually know what they're talking about, because they love America, and that's why they're veterans, and they should be able to teach kids about American patriotism and why they need to die, why they need to die in a war. Maybe for America, maybe for Lockheed Martin, maybe for Israel, who knows? But they should die in a war for one of our for us or one of our allies, or for Lockheed Martin, one of the two. What one of those, okay? One of those. And I would like to go to one of the craziest things that I've read when it comes to teacher shortages. Just period, okay? Listen to this. High numbers of vacancies in the education sector have been reported. The Florida Education Association, the state's largest association of professional employees, has said that as the middle of the current school year, this is the middle of the school year, just so you know, there are 4,096 advertised instructional vacancies and 3,457 support staff vacancies in Florida schools statewide. And if this doesn't sound like a lot to you, let them put it into perspective. A shortage of more than 4,000 teachers is more than the population of teachers in 19 of Florida's smallest counties combined. The association said in a report on January 17th, 4,000 teacher vacancies mean that there's potentially hundreds of thousands of students in Florida who do not have access to a full-time teacher. So instead of worrying about how teachers can't work in Florida anymore, and the future of Florida rests in poorer, hungrier, sadder, and more poorly educated children than have ever been in Florida's history since the founding of the state, they decide to tackle wokeness instead of worrying about what the future of Florida education looks like, because it looks pretty dim right now. It's very bad. And so now the legislature has to figure out a way to how to fix this. And obviously, it's not going to be about how do we actually make sure that children get the best education. And what's going to happen is we're going to worry about how do we actually really make sure that wokeness for once and for all is dealt a final blow and destroyed, or whatever dumb shit that they have to do. Or maybe they're going to ban more. Maybe they're going to ban women's history, just like they tried to ban AP African American history as well. Who knows? Possibly. Who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that Florida is going to be poorer, dirtier, and dumber than it ever has been under Republican control. And that's just what they do.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it.
Thank you, Boo.